Welcome to Lex Media, our viewers all around the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are tuning in. Subscribe to the channel and also share it to all the followers such that everybody will watch this. We welcome you all on board with us in the studio today, tonight, this afternoon. Honorable General Nhial and Abram Awolech and my colleagues of Lakes Media, Abram Madin Majak and Majong Makur. We will host this show. This is very important show for all of us to listen and hear from the new leader of the party, South Sudan Salvation Movement, General Deng. Yes, I know everybody is waiting for this time, and now we are on live. Abraham Madid, take it up here, and later on we have to go down. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman uh, Isaac. Let me welcome General Nhial. Isaac, can you mute yourself?
Okay, yes.
Yeah. Let me welcome General Nhial Deng Nhial for Lake Media. It is our honor to receive you today. For that, let me apologize to our audience for.
Need to mute myself from the clubhouse.
Yes.
Okay.
Both of them. Yeah. So, yeah. Let me welcome. Thank you. Let me give this chance to our General Secretary, Majong Makur Malak, to take over from here. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy the show. Thank you. Majong, you can take over from here.
Thank you so much, Abraham Adit, President Isaac Tiampol, Lex Media. To our viewers, wherever you are tuning in, welcome to Lex Media Beyond Boundaries. Tonight, this afternoon, or this morning, depending whatever time zone you are in, we have a very important guest, and we will engage in a national political conversations at this hour. And through these conversations, many of you have been waiting very eagerly to listen to General Nhial Deng Nhial, and also to ask him some questions which most of you could not have an opportunity to ask him. Tonight, today, this morning, Honorable General Nhial Deng Nhial is here on Lex Media to address some of the key questions that are actually roaming in the minds and the hearts of South Sudanese across the nations and across the globe, wherever you are in. Before I dive into the biography briefly, kindly I'm requesting our viewers to share this live show. It is a meaningful conversation, and we need to have a dialogue with the citizens and also to have a platform to listen to him. Please share the live show. And if you have any questions, other citizens of that country, South Sudan, you are entitled to pose your questions under the comment section, and the team of Lex Media in the studio will display your questions on the screen later on for our guest to answer. Before I move quickly also to his biography, permit me to introduce Abram Awolech. Abraham Awolech is one of the prominent South Sudanese, the man who engaged in the issues of politics, socially and economics-wide in that country. Most of you knows him, and he has been on this platform several times, and he is a member of CCA, actually, sorry for that. And not only that, he has held several positions before, especially in terms of research, and he's an academic in that regard. Most of you are familiar with him. The reason why he's on the platform today is also to ask some of the open-ended questions that contain the governance setup of our country, saying these conversations is at a certain level. So we need him to actually align his questions with the Lex Media and the questions that South Sudanese might be in a position to listen to. Thank you so much. Let me move quickly to our guest. Our guest, General Nhial Deng Nhial, is a permanent politician of South Sudan, And during the struggle before the independence of our country, he went to school, he studied in several schools, and he obtained his Bachelor of Law in University of Khartoum. And during that time, he actually played a critical role during the struggle of the SPLA, SPLM, before South Sudan gained independence in 2011. And he also held a lot of positions during that struggle. He was the governor of Greater Barkazal during those days, especially in 1994 to 1999. He has been a minister of SPLA affairs. And after that, he resigned in the year 2006 when things were not moving the way he wanted them to move. And after his resignation, he went back to the university to pursue his master degrees in law in University of Deng in UK, of which he obtained successfully. And thereafter, before we gained independence during the negotiation with the Sudan government, he was the chief negotiator during the comprehensive peace agreement of that gave birth to South Sudan through self-determination. After South Sudan gained independence, Honorable General Nhial held several positions in the government. At the first positions, he was appointed as a Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperations, which he held several times, and thereafter he was relieved and appointed again as a Minister of Presidential Affairs. And before and after that, he was appointed as a Senior Presidential Advisor to give some advice to President Salva Kiir. After he was relieved, he was also appointed. He was actually a member of political bureau before he declared his suspension of the SPLA membership and formed his own political party, which is South Sudan Salvation Movement. And through that, General Deng is a member of National Legislative Assembly, who was actually elected democratically, and he is still holding that position up to date. But we have had the news from the SPLM last week that he has been suspended for holding that position because he has decided to move out of that house of the SPLM. This is the brief biography of Honorable General Deng, and he has several achievements during his lifetime, and he's still continuing achieving more as we speak. Our audience, the people watching in Clubhouse, YouTube, Facebook, and other media outlets, permit me to invite our guests to give us one of the opening remarks before we dive into the conversations of today. Gerald Deng, we appreciate you on behalf of Lex Media for creating time to come and have meaningful conversation with your fellow citizens of that young nation, South Sudan. The chance is yours. You can unmute yourself and give us your opening remark before we dive into the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Majuk, and thank you to the staff of Flex Media for having afforded me this opportunity to interact with the people of South Sudan, wherever they may be, inside the country and in other locations in the world. It is indeed a privilege and a great opportunity for me to be able maybe to elaborate a little bit more on the declaration I made and speak about the reasons that prompted me to make that declaration, basically freezing my membership temporarily of the SPLM to form an outfit which I basically designed to be a vehicle, an instrument for initiating and carrying out reforms, very badly needed reforms in the SPLM. There is nothing wrong with the SPLM. It's a wonderful vehicle through which we wage the revolutionary armed struggle, and an excellent vehicle for building the state and building the nation. Unfortunately, it has been beset by leadership failures, which I shall be able, hopefully, to expand upon. But Generally, I'm very delighted with this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gerald Deng. We deeply appreciate your time, and we believe the conversations will be meaningful, as most of the citizens anticipate to hear more from you. Dear viewers, before I move to the questions, permit me to give 1 minute to my co-host, Abraham Wallich, to give us his brief opening remark, and thereafter we'll move to the questions. Abraham, the chance is yours.
Thank you very much, Brother Majuk, and the leadership of Lake State Media for affording Honorable Nhial and the people of South Sudan the opportunity to listen today. I have nothing much to say, but to say that Honorable Nhial, you are welcome. Your appearance on Lake Media is highly anticipated, and the people of South Sudan are yearning to hear more from you. You are a core member of the SPLM and one of the leaders of the people of South Sudan. And should you reach a point where you decide to leave the country and declare a new organization, they want to know more. And so my hope is that we will have this conversation on behalf of the people of South Sudan, and that you will be able to expound on your declaration, which is very elaborate, and that they will gain more insights into the issues, the critical issues affecting the country. So you are welcome, and we look forward to this conversation.
Thank you so much, Abraham Wallich. General Honorable Nhial Deng, after you made declarations and actually forming your political party, the declaration obtained 3 things, and that is where we'll start our conversation in. In your declaration, you suspend your membership from the SPLM, and subsequently you form your political party, which is South Sudan Salvation Movement. And on the same note, you already declare your alliances with the group existing already, the UPA. These 3 things, that's where our conversation will start in. And to begin with, Honorable, your declarations came in at a very critical hour, where most of South Sudanese were looking unto the leadership on how to transform the economy of the country, to transform the leadership of the country, and how to chart the way forward in order to reduce the suffering of South Sudanese. And after that, many were shocked to hear your declarations. And that is why this conversation is meaningful to many of them who are now watching us. Our questions, General Honorable, is that what is specific factors prompted you to suspend your membership from the SPLM while you held several positions under that party, which is the ruling party and mother party, and while you actually were a member of political bureau? What is the specific reason that prompted you? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That's a key question. As a matter of fact, I have had the opportunity, being in the leadership of the SPLM and being a member of the executive arm of government as well as the legislative arm of government. I've been afforded the opportunity to be able to contribute, you see, to resolving the problems that face our country, to make the country a better place to live in. But unfortunately, it has taken quite some time for me to take this decision. It was not a decision that I took lightly. And the fact that it might appear to most people that it is rather late in the day for me to take such a decision, it is really because I am one of those people. I see myself as patient. I see myself as a person acting with restraint. The movement has come under a lot of turbulence in its history. But let us take from independence up to this point. Our problems have been revolving around power. The problem of South Sudan is basically the problem of power struggle, the conflict that stems from this power struggle, the serious economic decline that stems from this, are all the result of poor governance, whether at the level of the SPLM as a political organization or at the level of the state, at the executive branch of the government. I have been one of those who have been engaging with the leadership for quite a long time. You see, basically trying to have a dialogue and trying to persuade our leadership on the need to go back to basics. Going back to basics meaning basically going back to the SPLM. Because what happened and what prompted me to depart in 2006 was that from the moment we lost our founding leader, Dr. John Garang Damabur, I noticed that our movement started drifting away. Not only were the policies that the SPLM was supposed to formulate and use to run the government being thrown away, but even the cadres, the leading cadres of the movement were being marginalized. So it was clear to me that our president and chairman had decided to move in a different direction. And so I left. When I returned in 2008 and rejoined the government, again, there was a lot of, not pressure, but people basically insisted that I should rejoin the government. At first, when I came back, after I left, I basically wanted to confine my activities to the SPLM as a political party and not to participate in the executive. But at that time, the president and many people thought that I would best serve in the government. That's where my abilities could best be utilized. So I accepted. All along, I've been trying to persuade the leadership on the need to work collectively within the SPLM. That has not happened. Even in 2013 was not inevitable. It could have been avoided. As a matter of fact, I was one of those who was telling the president that the demands that were put forward by Riek Machar should have been accepted because they would not have done any harm. He basically made 3 demands. That when the National Convention is held, because the whole idea now was when the National Convention is held, who would be elected as the standard bearer of the SPLM and who would be the candidate of the SPLM in the presidential elections in 2015. That was what it was all about. And so both President Salva and Dr. Riek Machar wanted to be elected as that candidate. Dr. Machar, to enhance what he thought would enhance his chances of being selected as the chair of the SPLM in the National Convention, was basically to put 3 conditions forward. He insisted that the chairman of the SPLM should not select 5% of the membership of the National Convention, that the chairman of the SPLM should be elected by the National Convention along with his deputies. And third, and more importantly, that when it comes to elections in the National Convention, they should be done by secret ballot. I tried to persuade President Salva that he should accept those demands, because looking at them critically, in fact, some people even try to dissuade him from going along with the idea of having people vote, convention delegates vote by secret ballot. They were telling him that, if you accepted that, our people are illiterate, and so most of them might end up voting for Riek Machar by mistake, which was quite a ridiculous argument. But he seems to have bought it, you see. And as a result, he rejected all the demands. Now, the sad thing, the tragedy, is that after these demands were rejected and people went to armed conflict and a lot of lives were lost, he came back in 2015 and accepted those very demands, you see. So all along, the reason why I've stayed all this long is because I had always hoped that I would be able, maybe with some other colleagues, to persuade him first to come back to the SPLM fold, because when he took over, he was persuaded that those SPLM colleagues of yours that have come with you from Bilfam are up to no good. Actually, they want to replace you. They want to remove you. And he took that to heart, and he started basically undermining his colleagues in the leadership. And that, of course, has ended, as we all know, with the humiliating dismissal of historical leaders of the SPLM, those of Wani, those of General Awed, those of General Kwal Manyang. So he bought into that and started distancing himself. But for me, I do not lose hope, you see. Even in 2013, when most of my colleagues, like-minded colleagues, left, I stayed behind, still hoping that through dialogue, through persuasion, we might be able to convince Salva Kiir to come back to the fold. Unfortunately, this did not happen. And this is one of the reasons that prompted me, because I now came to the realization, especially after the dismissal of Comrade Wani, Await, and Kwal Manyang, I came to the conclusion that there was no way the chairman was going to change his way. So I had to leave. Another reason that might have delayed me from taking this decision is the fact that in our movement, the SPLM, we have a kind of almost a military style discipline, and normally you don't stick your neck out before your seniors do that. So naturally, one would have been expecting that my colleagues, especially Wani, Paul, and Await, would be the ones to take the lead, would be the ones to initiate, basically talking to the chairman and trying to persuade him to come back. It was not yet my turn. But after they were, they were dismissed, it became clear that somebody else within the leadership now has to take charge, you see, and speak out and move. So basically, the reasons are that we have reached a stage where there is total failure. There is total failure of governance. The transition has come to a halt. The conflict in South Sudan is about political power. And the problem is the way in which it is being managed, you see, because the way political power is managed is that the populace, the people have to be given the right, to select their leaders in free and fair democratic elections. If people are elected by the people, then they have the mandate, then they have the legitimacy. But, if you deny people the opportunity to elect their leaders, it means that you are actually denying those opportunities to access peace, to access power through peaceful and democratic methods. If they cannot access power through peaceful democratic means, what will they do? They will resort to arms. And that's the reason for violence. This is why South Sudan is violent. So as a matter of fact, until and unless the government accepts for the transition to start moving forward towards elections after we formulate a permanent constitution, South Sudan will remain beset by chronic violence. It will never stop.
Thank you, Honorable. You have highlighted some of the points that prompted you to decide and make your critical decisions in regard to the leadership of the SPLM. To what extent, Honorable, did political ideologies, leadership style, or internal party dynamics influence the decisions? To what extent?
Well, if you look at the SPLM itself, it has become more or less just an ornament. There's no SPLM. A political party is formed in order to strive for political power through the political process. And there are activities that the political party has to do in order to be able to access that power or to retain that power. The SPLM, as a political outfit, does not formulate any policy. The government that is supposed to be the government of the SPLM does not work with the policy of the SPLM, because the SPLM itself does not formulate any policies. You have got structures, you have got a secretariat, you have got office bearers, but they never sit to discuss policy. The only activity that the SPLM conducts is they don't even organize, of course, rallies. They don't talk to the grassroots. The only activity that the SPLM carries out and on which money is spent is to gather SPLM cadres. We dress up in the red outfit with the yellow star. We go to the meeting venue, and all we do is basically make chant slogans endorsing President Salva Kiir and chairman of the SPLM as the candidate in the next elections. Yes, I mean it's a key activity of a political party to campaign for its candidates. And to that extent, you can of course organize rallies and meetings, but it cannot be the sole activity of a political party. A political party basically has to organize a program that it submits to the populace to be studied, basically, and if it is a program that the population has accepted, then they will vote you in power. You know, I used to tell my colleagues in the SPLM that basically what we have with the people of South Sudan now is a honeymoon. A honeymoon as a result of the fact that it is we, the liberators, who have delivered independence. But once we deliver independence, we should not sit on our laurels. We should not think that, okay, we deserve to run the affairs of the country as a reward for what we did in the bush, for the achievements that we did. No, we have to have a record of achievement, a record of performance, because once we have become a state, people are looking at the provision of services, you see. And I say that the struggle of the SPLM is divided into two phases. It's only phase one that has been achieved. It's the liberation phase that has delivered independence that has been achieved. But the other phase, which is the phase of nation state building and nation formation, has barely been touched. And nothing is being done by the SPLM at all to address these issues. And if the SPLM cannot address these issues, cannot deliver services, cannot seek to unite the country, bring about cohesion, try to bring the different ethnic groups that form South Sudan into one create a national identity, then the SPLM has basically failed to discharge its mission. You see, this is the problem.
Thank you, Gerald. You have mentioned the SPLM has really failed the country, and since you have held several positions in the SPLM party, did you attempt to do some reform internally before you arrive to your decisions in order to put the SPLM at the right track? You mentioned before that you spoke to the president, but nothing worked out. Did you spoke within the SPLM party, considering the positions you were holding as the member of political bureau and your influence in that party and the trust the party has on you? Thank you.
Brother Majuk, before the Honorable responded, I have a probing question also along with that. And that is for Honorable Nhial to tell us exactly how decisions are made in the SPLM and how decisions are supposed to be made in the SPLM. And since when did the party start to drift apart? Is it starting all the way from 2006? Or is it after the split of 2013? So I'm interested, and I think the people of South Sudan are also interested to get a sense of how the SPLM actually makes decisions, in addition to what Brother Majuk has just asked you. Thank you.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, the SPLM basically is not active. Basically, it's like you have set up an organization, then you have made it dormant. You see, it's not active. When we were in the bush during the early days, one of the things that the colleagues of Dr. John Garang used to fault him for was that John Garang was not calling meetings. John Garang was taking decisions alone. The leadership in those days perhaps had good reason not to be meeting as frequently as they're supposed to be, you know, because all the members of the political military high command basically were commanders of military zones. So they had assignments in the field, which were probably more important than rushing to meetings, because consultations could easily be done using radio communication. The SPLA had a very sophisticated radio communication system. Our signals or our signals intelligence was probably very advanced, even for a guerrilla movement. And so there was a lot of security in terms of communication. So the leadership could consult among themselves without necessarily having to come to one venue. But some of the colleagues of Dr. John, including Comrade Salva Kiir himself, were insisting that people had to meet, and that Dr. John was not convening meetings. Now that we are an independent state and we have ample opportunity to meet and to discuss government business, the SPLM itself hardly ever meets. The SPLM itself does not meet. As I said, when the SPLM meets, it's to set up a committee basically to prepare a rally for us to endorse President Salva as the candidate. So, although the SPLM, of course, also has its constitution, it has got basic documents, because you asked, how does the SPLM conduct its business? The SPLM does not even refer to those documents. The dismissals of those of Wade and Wani and is not sanctioned by any of the provisions in the constitution of the SPLM. This was just being done unilaterally without recourse to the guiding documents that are supposed to sanction such activities. So yes, the SPLM, as I said, is there, but it does not do the work that it's supposed to do, and it does not definitely follow its own documents and procedural guidelines that it lays down. So it's like the SPLM is being activated just as a formality, but really nobody wants to use it, you see. And perhaps also this has got to do with the personnel in the SPLM and the leadership of the SPLM. Maybe the leadership does not believe that the people who are in leadership positions at this moment support the leadership of Chairman Salva Kiir, and therefore we could see that there have been attempts even to overhaul the membership of the SPLM. Maybe this also shows that we, the cadres of the SPLM, are no longer trusted by our own brother and comrade, and therefore it is important for him to bring others to work with him. Now, if you bring others into the SPLM house, basically they will come with their own agenda. They will not work with the SPLM agenda, or the SPLM vision will be discarded. And this is precisely what's happening.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable, for that. And thank you, Abraham Woolwich, for that follow-up question. Indeed, Gerald, you have mentioned the way the SPLM operates currently, but can you shed more light on if President Kiir does not listen to people like you and the like of Gerald Kwalmanyang Juk, the like of Gerald Daniel Wanakut, and also Professor Dr. James Wani Iga, who makes decision of the SPLM? Because we are seeing the arrival of new political blood into the party of the SPLM. Who makes those decisions?
I think even after before the recent events, it's not clear what the mechanism is. But what I also want to point out, because we might be, I and my other colleagues who have been dismissed might be accused of being disloyal, maybe to Chairman Kiir. That is a complete myth. You know, nobody in the leadership of the SPLM at one point in time entertained the idea that we do not want Kiir to continue as the chairman of the SPLM. When we lost Dr. Garang, his rise to succeed Garang was automatic. There was no dispute about that, because we in the SPLM tend to be, as I mentioned before, we have a high level of discipline, a high level of commitment to structure and to seniority. And so we did not even pause to think twice about who should succeed Garang. So all the things that were being said about X or Y and Z being groomed to succeed him and so on, including myself, is totally rubbish. There's no truth in that. And even most of the people who are very close to Chairman Kiir himself have been telling him that it's not true that Nhial has any designs on your position whatsoever. That issue was laid to rest in Rumbek when late Garang said that, how do you expect me to bring Nhial? Because if I bring Nhial, it will not only be Salva that he will replace, but anybody who is senior to him, I'll have to sack them. I'll have to remove them. So it's not true. So there is no issue at all that there is a problem of loyalty to the leadership of President Kiir. All we wanted was to continue to work alongside him as our leader, as our chairman, to put in place, you see, the guiding principles that underpin the movement, that were behind the formation of the movement in the first place, you see. Because we were very optimistic when we achieved independence, because we thought that with the vision of the SPLM, and one of the most important things that I think we continue only to pay lip service to, even this government, is the notion of taking towns to the people. You can't be singing about taking towns to the people without actually putting in place the policies that will take towns to the people. You see, you can take towns to the people without, you see, a governance structure that basically devolves authority to subnational levels of government, and not only empowers them politically, but also empowers them materially with resources from the budget to be able to render service and transform the rural areas into towns. So this is just an example. So basically, all that we came with from the bush in terms of our principles, our programs, well, we have just been thrown away.
Thank you, Honorable, for that. Would you describe your departure from the SPLM as a resignation, a protest, or a strategic political move?
Well, it's a strategic political move because I've not basically resigned. I've frozen my membership. And what I would like to tell our people, whom I would like to urge, especially SPLM cadres, whom I'd like to urge to join the SSM, is that we are only using the SSM as a vehicle to reclaim the SPLM. The SPLM has veered off the track. We want to bring it back on track. And for you in the diaspora, you can directly join the SSM, and through the SSM, of course, you will become a member of the UPA. But for those of you who are inside, you don't need to leave your positions. Remain in the SPLM. Do what needs to be done to effect reforms from within. Do what we in the SSM would like to do, such that there is change, and then the SPLM can go back to what it really is.
I have a follow-up question on that.
Yes, come on.
Yes, Honorable Nhial, that very point is a point of contention, especially among your would-be supporters. They wonder, what if you are unable to reform the SPLM? What if the SPLM cannot be wrestled away from the jaws of the current elements that have taken it over? Should the people of South Sudan be beholden to stick to the SPLM no matter what? Or could there be alternative pathways to achieve the same goals and vision of the SPLM without necessarily wearing the SPLM t-shirt? And people keep wondering, if Honorable Nhial has frozen his membership in the SPLM, what does he want us to do? Should we also freeze our membership if we want to support him? Or should we go with him, and then if we have the opportunity to come back, we come back and then take over the SPLM? So there is a dilemma there which you probably need to expound more on.
Well, for me, I do not believe that I can pursue the agenda of the reform of the SPLM, meanwhile being formally part of the SPLM, and that's why I've decided to freeze. But for the rest of the comrades who are SPLM members, there is absolutely nothing that prevents them from pursuing the agenda reform from within the SPLM, meanwhile wearing the cloak of the SPLM. You are SPLM, you continue in the SPLM, but do what needs to be done. We need basically a reform movement within the reform movement itself has to act within the SPLM itself. And that's why my appeal is primarily to SPLM members. Of course, there have been voices. Some people have told me that they appreciate the declaration and the formation of the SSM, but they would like actually to be SSM members and would not like to be associated with the SPLM. My answer to them is that even for you to reform the SPLM, to reclaim the SPLM for SPLM members, you need access to power. You see, you need access to power. So when you access power, you'll be able to do that reform. But there is nothing basically to prevent you to do the work of the SPLM. Meanwhile, you are inside. If for some reason later on, if the SSM succeeds in its mission, and the SPLM is salvaged, is reclaimed, and we now formally retake our position in the SPLM. For those who do not wish to be SPLM, they can stay behind. They can even use the SSM if they want as their own political vehicle. I'd just like maybe to paraphrase what late Dr. John used to say about those who were not too keen on the notion of a new Sudan and a united Sudan on a new basis. Dr. John used to tell them that they were basically separatists. They wanted a separate, independent South Sudan. And Dr. John would say that there's no problem. Basically, there is an obstacle to both an independent South Sudan and a new Sudan. Whether you are for independent South Sudan or for a new Sudan, there's an obstacle that you must work with others to remove. And so let's go together. If we reach Kosti, you, the adherents of the independent South Sudan, you can come back and allow those who want to pursue the new Sudan to continue. So it's the same. I would like everybody to come on board to join the SSSM, because the SSSM is a very important vehicle. It's one of the important vehicles for political change in our country, because it is only when this political change is achieved that all of us will be able now to achieve our to pursue our different divergent political agendas. That's very important. That's why I believe that it's very important for the opposition, all those who would like to see change, to come together.
Thank you so much, Honorable Nhial. There is also a follow-up questions in regard to that, because you have mentioned several times that SSM is a vehicle to transform the SPLM party. And when I hope you listened to the press release by the SPLM Secretariat, and which was actually read out by Honorable Paul Mokwang, the Secretary for Political Affairs and Organizations. He mentioned one thing, that how do you transform the party that you have left and you form your own party? Kindly, can you answer that question? What are the modalities you want to lay down or maybe approach to use in order to penetrate in the SPLM whom you have already left and transform it? How possible is that?
It's quite possible, because probably the vast majority of SPLM members currently in SPLM structures support and sympathize totally with the formation of the SSM. So they will actually be working inside SSM. So if they are working inside, then it means that it is possible to transform it. It is possible to transform it.
Now you have joined the UPA. Will the UPA accept that analogy of using the whole entire alliance to transform the party existing already?
No, the UPA, of course, is an association of different political groups. We all have divergent agendas, as I mentioned before, but there will have to be a bare minimum that brings us together in the UPA. And I believe that the bare minimum that unites us in the UPA, including all other opposition movements that are not part of the UPA, is this idea that we need to bring about political change. It is only once that political change is brought, then each and every one of us will have the opportunity to pursue their political objectives. Now, the most important thing that we have as South Sudanese to rally behind all is that the only way to bring peace and end violence permanently is for the current transition period to be unblocked. The transition has been blocked. It has been stalled. You see, let me say again, if the transition is stalled, if it does not move forward, it means that you are not going to go to elections. If you do not go to elections, then you are basically telling the people of South Sudan that there is really no peaceful method of pursuing power. If there is no peaceful method of pursuing power, people will just go back to the bush. Those of SPLM-IO will intensify their campaign. Other groups outside carrying guns will intensify their campaign, and the country will be destroyed. So it is in the interest of all of us, including the SPLM-IG, to make sure that the transition carries on, moves in a forward direction. You see, because unless the people of South Sudan have a government that they have mandated, a government that is legitimate, that they've chosen by themselves, they will not accept a government to be imposed on them. Any government imposed on the people of South Sudan, they will resist it. And that resistance, of course, will take also violent forms. You see, that is the fundamental question. That's really the main thrust of the SFM now. Our position is that as expeditiously as possible, the Constitution must be drafted and finalized. And on the basis of that Constitution, elections be held before 2026. This is the only way you can save South Sudan. If this is not done, I can see a situation which is already extremely bad deteriorating further. And if it deteriorates further, I think we even run the risk of South Sudan getting dismembered.
Thank you, Honorable. We would appreciate if there could be more light, because it's getting darker at the background, and maybe the viewers would like to read your lips accordingly in a light. We'll appreciate that. Thank you. Before we move to section 2 of our questions, and maybe section 3, which my co-host Abraham Wolich will take more on that, I would like to ask a few questions, especially 2 which are similar. Do you think currently you have formed your own political party? Do you think you still have a room to negotiate with the SPLM to collaborate, or maybe to have a specific dialogue with the President Kiir? If President Kiir decided today to reach out to you and say, that is not what I expect from you, can you come back? Let's talk and let's move this party to the next level. Do you still have that room?
Yeah, of course. There's no problem. Let me take it in 2 parts. First, in relation to the SPLM, of course, the SPLM has to go back to the drawing board. It has to rediscover itself, basically rediscover itself and democratize. You see, because if we are calling if democracy, democratic political governance is one of the tenets that the SPLM believes in and would like to promote, then we can't afford not to be democratic internally. This is as far as the SPLM is concerned. So if President Kiir is willing basically to take back the SPLM to where it was, of course, I would be willing to have a dialogue with him. The other dialogue that I would really be interested to have with him is on the question of the transition, the agreement, the RRCs, and then the Tumaini initiatives. These are documents that provide the pathway, you see, to peace and to peaceful democratic transfer of power. You see, the continuous attempts, or basically the continuous extensions of the transition period will not help us, you see, because the violence that has gripped the country will only get worse, you see, because all those people outside there carrying guns are doing so because they have been denied a share of power. And that share of power, we want it to be attained through peaceful democratic means. So give them the opportunity to access it through peaceful democratic means. Let us stop the continuous extensions of the transition period. Let us have a constitution written as soon as possible, of course, with the inclusive participation of all the South Sudanese. And then after that, let us have elections as promised. Let the talk about elections by 2026 not just be mere lip service. Let us actually do it, and let us prepare the ground very well for it by writing the constitution. Of course, there are other aspects of the agreement, RCs, which, in our view, in the SSM, we think they are important, but they are not absolutely essential. They do not block the transition. The things that can block the transition from moving is the lack of a constitution and not conducting elections. But all other aspects of the RRCs, both the economic reform aspects, the security aspects, the formation of single unified national army, and other elements of the RRCs can actually be deferred for action by the post-election government. But if let us not use the fact that the RRCs is a very bulky document and has got very many provisions that it will take time to implement, and we do not have resources to implement it. Let people not use that as a pretext for blocking the transition. That's our position. The transition must be allowed to carry its course with the things that are really important, the constitution and the election. But this can be done before 2026.
Thank you, Honorable. I think Abraham Awolich will have a follow-up questions because he spoke things to do with the democracy, and the SPLM should democratize the party and have opened space for the nation to move on. But before that, you have spoke eloquently in regard to pushing for the nation to go for elections. Assuming the leadership of the SPLM, the SPLM-IO, and all other parties, which are members of the revitalized peace agreement, accepted today that we are going for elections on December 2026. Will you support President Kiir for presidency, or you will move on as a separate party?
That would depend on what happens in the SPLA between now and then, because what we want our decisions to be taken collectively by the leadership of the SPLM. We do not want unilateral decisions by Kiir or by anybody. If Kiir basically accepts the SPLM to be empowered and decisions to be taken by the leadership of the SPLM collectively, and for us to follow our constitution, our basic laws and regulations, then that will now determine whether we will select Kiir to be our candidate for the next elections or not. Even the manner in which the issue of nominating Chairman Kiir, you see, to be our candidate in the next presidential elections, the manner, the methodology is totally incorrect. You see, you don't. The SPLM is a political organization. When you want to campaign for its leadership or its leader to be the candidate in the elections, you don't go to the regions. You don't go to the regions. You go to the party organs. You call for the national convention to take that decision. It is not taken in Wau or in Juba or in Malakal. You see, these are the problems. The SPLM itself is not being run as a political outfit. It's like being run like a collection of tribal groupings or regional groupings. These are some of the things that we believe that needs to be corrected. And if President Kiir is willing to consider a dialogue so that we can correct these things, then of course, definitely, we would be very much interested to have that dialogue.
Yeah, thank you. Abraham Wallich.
Thank you, Brother Majuk. And Honorable Nhial, we wonder if you could have more light in your room there. It appears to be getting darker.
Yeah.
And
could we just have a break?
Okay.
I can sort that out, yeah.
Okay. Maybe let's
Good.
have a break for like 2 minutes.
2 minutes. The team in the studio take care of that.
Okay, Isaac, are you there? You can come up.
Yes, I am.
Okay, so we are taking 2-minute break. So if you can can give us some of the guy in Clubhouse can say something.
Okay.
While do you have something to say? While we're waiting, we are on the break. Or Amigo.
Yes. I really hope will convene the doubting Thomases with regards to the reform that can be achieved by the creation of a whole movement. And if and when he, Comrade Nhial William, was still a member of the SPLM and have had different important positions, have held them within the SPLM, and yet it was still difficult for him to convince the chairman of the party. How is it going to be possible now? He has suspended his membership and formed a whole movement. How is that going to make President Kir listen to him? How is that? Second of all, this is not the first attempt to reform within the SPLM. And SM is not the first movement to be established with an intent to reform the SPLM. There is a real SPLM out there arguing for the same, because I do believe Comrade Pagan doesn't see himself as a separate entity from the SPLM. He still sees himself as a member of the SPLM. As a matter of fact, he called himself the real one. And as real as he assumed himself to be, nobody is hearing him in Juba. And then there was also a regional intervention to reform the SPLM. And that was done through the Arusha Declaration. And one of the points of the Arusha Declaration was the SPLM to restructure itself, because in that the convention, it was discovered that SPLM needed to be restructured. And so Arusha Declaration was basically about the same thing that Comrade Nhial William is telling us here. And all of that did not materialize. I, as a doubting Thomas, how is the South Sudan Salvation Movement going to fix it? I hope later on when he comes back from the break, he can address these issues. I think I'll stop here.
Okay, thank you. Secretary General Majong Mako, you take over.
Thank you so much, the viewers in the clubhouse and the Lex Media team in the studio. We appreciate General Deng for coming back and for also fixing the light. We really appreciate that. Abraham Wolich, you can proceed from there.
Right. Well, thank you very much. Honorable Nhial, as once again, it is a privilege to chat with you. Your show, as we expected, is highly anticipated, and there are existential questions related to South Sudan in general that are lingering in the minds of many people in South Sudan. One of them is there have been a number of agreements. One of them is internal agreement in the SPLM, the Arusha agreement, and the agreement on the resolution of conflict in South Sudan in 2015, and the revitalized agreement. And then there was that Rome initiative and the visit of Pope Francis and the moderator of the Church of Scotland, as well as the Archbishop of Canterbury, trying to push the leaders of South Sudan to embrace peace and to embrace unity. And you had the resolutions of the South Sudan National Dialogue, a long process that took 4 years and culminated in a resolutions, final resolutions, as well as a final report. None of this has worked. Who is frustrating these processes? Who is responsible for the frustration of these processes? Why are these processes not able to be implemented and to engender the democratic transition that the people of South Sudan has been demanding? You have a moral responsibility as a leader to expound on this and tell the people of South Sudan, why have we tried everything and nothing seems to work? And the speaker that you have just heard was lamenting the fact that all these things have been tried before and nothing worked. Why would SSSM be different now? So that is an open-ended question.
Okay. Yeah, I think these agreements that you alluded to, of course, are not the same. They came in different circumstances and different contexts. The Arusha Agreement of 2015 in January, I believe, which was mediated and sponsored by Chama Cha Mapinduzi Party of Tanzania, was an attempt, basically. It was not just only to reunify the movement, but I think the thinking was that you could achieve peace, because we had also the Addis process going on in parallel. The thinking was that through unifying the party, maybe you can achieve peace. What you are not able to achieve in Addis, you could achieve it in Arusha. Now, it did not work because I think for Arusha, it was not implemented because I think too much water had already gone under the bridge, to say so. Basically, I do not believe that at that point, Dr. Riek Machar was ready basically to give up the SPLM-IO and come back to the SPLM, because the SPLM-IO itself has diverse constituencies within it. And I believe that there were certain constituencies in the SPLM-IO to whom the idea of the SPLM coming back to the SPLM-IO coming back to the parent SPLM was anathema. And that's why Arusha did not succeed. The national dialogue was a very good undertaking, basically designed to find consensus on governance among the people of South Sudan. And they gave their consensus. In fact, I actually believe that the national dialogue, the outcome of the national dialogue itself, should be used by the National Constitution Review Commission as a key reference for drafting the Constitution, because the outcome of the National Convention has already captured the consensus of the people of South Sudan. Now the National Constitution Review Commission is engaged in doing exactly the same thing that the national dialogue did. So it's basically repetition, and time could be saved by just taking the resolutions and the recommendations of the national dialogue and using it as a reference point for drafting or preparing the first draft of the permanent constitution. But again, the reason why it has not succeeded is because the national dialogue is a key to unlocking the transition, and the transition, unfortunately, for tends to lead to results that the powers that be do not want to see. You see, basically, and I've made it very clear in my declaration, the problem is that why are people dragging their feet in implementing the RRCs? Because the end game of the RRCs is not palatable. It's not politically palatable. The end game of the RRCs, where the people of South Sudan themselves now determine their destiny and select their leadership, will probably throw out the current leadership. That's the point.
Excellent. Well, the other broader question that many people of South Sudan have in mind is that the opposition so far has been fractured, and therefore they have not been able to mount significant pressure on the government to make it necessary that changes must be made. And now you have declared a new movement, and you have declared your intention to join forces with the UPA. You have a number of other opposition groups that are not part of the UPA, and that include the group that is led by General Shirilo. And you have now Nathaniel Oyet, the deputy of the SPLMIO, also no longer in Juba after his leader was arrested. To what extent are you and collectively as the leadership of UPA willing to reach out to all these groups so that you can unite your position? And could you and in what ways are you going to demonstrate democracy the way it is expected? Because many people believe out there that the SPLM leaders, that include you and Honorable Pagan and Paul Malong and even General Thomas, there is a general belief that you guys are not Democrat by nature and by training and by virtue of being members of the SPLM. So how are you going to demonstrate? In what ways are you going to expound and demonstrate that democracy that you are advocating for? So that is a question that is lingering in the minds of many people, whether you can come together and whether you can actually champion democracy.
Actually, you brought a very interesting point when you suggested that maybe we SPLM, we all came from the SPLM, are not Democrats. Yeah, maybe during the liberation struggle, perhaps democracy was not really the main preoccupation. People were busy with maximizing pressure on the regime in Khartoum through all means, including the armed struggle. But as I mentioned earlier, the reason why people took up arms, and most of the people who took up arms did not do so because they wanted to be soldiers, but it was a means for liberation, you see. And phase one, the phase of the armed struggle, is over. And unfortunately, the armed struggle gave many of our people the sense that the weapon is mightier than the word, and this explains why we have had a lot of problems along the way, even when we were still a liberation movement. For instance, and later Dr. John used to tell us that people used to come to the SPLA in batches, you see. The original SPLA or the founders of the SPLA, or those who flocked to the ranks of the SPLA upon its founding, were people in the greater Upper Nile region. So the majority of those people were Nuer and other Dinkas of Upper Nile. These were the people actually who fired the first bullets. The next batch was from Bahr Ghazal, and then the third was from Equatoria, and so on, until we went to Western Upper Nile and so on. Now, some of our leaders, they had this idea that if your group or your nationality are sizable within the SPLA ranks, then that can be a reason for you actually to lead the movement. Those problems actually did not start in 1991 with Riek Machar, as some people think. No, it was not Riek Machar who was the first person to do that. Others before him tried, but unfortunately, those problems were nipped in the bud. We managed to overcome them. And then 1991 happened, and Dr. Johan used to tell us that when he used to come to the training, when we were still under training, he would come and talk to the trainees, and he would tell us that it was not a political education. He was telling us that you be alert, be on the lookout, you see, because sometimes now, after a while, some of the politicians will come to you and tell you that now you guys, you are now the majority. Most of you are the ones carrying guns in the movement. Why don't you take over the leadership? And he predicted. So actually, 1991 was predicted by Dr. John, but it actually started before 1991. Interestingly, with people of Barghazal, that was around 1987, 88. You see, so it gave. I think it became part of our DNA. You see, arms become part of our DNA, and unfortunately, we have now decided also to manage politics with the gun. You see, now the armed struggle necessitated carrying weapons. After the armed struggle, after South Sudan now has become a sovereign, independent state, power now goes to the people. It belongs to them. Yeah, we have to put down the guns, and if we want to continue running the country, we go to the people to give us the mandate to do so. And the SPLM can do that because the SPLM was not just founded to liberate the country, but was founded with a mission, which actually involves state building and national formation. You see, and so it's by its very nature, the SPLM should be democratic in this phase of the struggle. The SPLM must be democratic because now we have to recognize that the power goes to the people. We used to say that the army will go to the state because the army, we SPLM, those who carried the guns in the SPLM and became generals, did that as an instrument for liberation. But we did not want to become soldiers. So after the liberation, those who want to continue becoming soldiers, they'll go into a national army where all SPLM South Sudanese nationals are there. It will be a professional army. It will belong to the state. You see, the government will be contested. If the SPLM has a program, has an agenda that appeals to the people of South Sudan, then they will elect us and give us the mandate to run the government. The only thing, so the government also belongs to the people of South Sudan, doesn't belong to the SPLM. What belongs to the SPLM is the SPLM as a political outfit. But because of its mission, it's supposed to be democratic by its very its very nature. It's supposed to be democratic.
Well, thank you, Honorable Nhial, for expounding that. Now, the other broader question is that at the moment in the country there is, the situation is tense. You have high-level court
Maybe
case.
there was another second part of your question that I did not address. I think.
Okay, go ahead. The unity of the
UAP,
UAP and other people who are outside UPA.
Yeah. The unity of the opposition, basically, I believe that its objective again is to introduce political change, which is long overdue. I mean, the opposition groups, their mission, their responsibility is to bring political pressure to bear on the regime to accept political change. You see, and for us in the UPA, or for us specifically in the SSSM. Our primary tool is dialogue and negotiations with the regime. I still have not completely abandoned the hope that President Salva Kiir will at the end of the day will be convinced, you see, of the necessity to unblock the transition and allow the people of South Sudan to have a say in how their country is governed. Allow the people of South Sudan to express themselves in their constitution on the governance arrangements that they would like to have in the Republic of South Sudan. This is our position as SSM, the position of the UPA. Of course, there are other opposition groups that maybe are purely using the armed method. It is their choice. But of course, even the UPA, of course, if it becomes impossible, difficult or impossible to convince the regime of the need for peaceful democratic transfer of power, then of course all means will still be used to achieve that objective. But the unity is paramount, you see, because the basis of that unity is the need for political change. Political change as the first step is essential for all opposition groups. You see, we don't need to split hairs now about what government to form. No, that's not our objective now. Our objective, all as opposition, is to create the opportunity for the people of South Sudan to express themselves by writing their constitution and to be able to select their leaders through free and fair election. This is the goal that is common to us, and therefore that common goal necessitates that we unite in order to achieve the first phase.
That is excellent. Well, the follow-up question to that is that there are people, members of UPA and others, and people in the general public who believe that in the event that the government doesn't accept a roundtable conference or political dialogue and all of that, could the opposition groups convene a national conference and come together around, build consensus around the political transition, and even go as far as using the South Sudan National Dialogue resolution to draft the constitution outside the country? Do you think that would be a relevant or a necessary step?
I think that would be a plausible course of action, because basically what we are trying to do is to use all means possible, all pressure points, you see, to bring about that change. If the government does not wish to engage with the political forces, you see, in a political consensus on governance, then as a means of exerting pressure on the government, the opposition should be able to go ahead and forge this kind of consensus. Because if that is happening, then probably the government will find itself isolated. I don't think that the government can afford to refrain, you see, from such an exercise, because if it doesn't wish to participate in a national dialogue conference or roundtable or whatever, which is aimed at reaching consensus on governance, it simply means that the government wishes to rule indefinitely, and that is the problem, because that's where the violence comes in. It will be untenable, you see, to continue ruling indefinitely without political transfer of power in a democratic fashion.
Now, one of the last questions that I may have is that do you have any comment on the high-level court case concerning Dr. Riek Machar and his members, and what are the implications for national unity and the unblocking of the transition that you are talking about?
Well, if at all Dr. Riek Machar and the other co-accused colleagues of theirs have a case to answer, then it is critically important that that is established through a fair and transparent judicial process. You see, basically, their fate should depend on the legal merits of the case. Not, I mean, if there is a reason to prosecute them criminally, let them be prosecuted criminally. Let us not have them politically persecuted. Let us have criminal prosecution, not political persecution. And that means that the case should be left entirely to the courts. There should be no political interference or manipulation for any reason whatsoever.
Okay. Well, there are, I have few other things related to international and regional engagements. The African Union, IGAD, and to some extent the East African community, and even the UN, people appear to have given up on trying to get South Sudan to the path of democracy and peace. And the collapse of Tumaini initiative seemed to have created uncertainty within the region and the international community to create to exert another effort, which they believe is not going to be successful. What do you think is needed? What message do you have for the region and the international community to re-exert their effort?
Well, we applaud the efforts of our regional organizations, IGAD, AU, and the international community. Those very keen to see peace restored to the country. But given the approach and the attitude of the government, it appears that they do not have much leverage in terms of changing the situation in South Sudan. But the situation in South Sudan without change cannot continue like this for long. I think the internal dynamics now are such that if the efforts to bring peace do not bear fruit, then I think the situation will be resolved by the internal dynamics. In which way, we do not know. But as they say, something will have to give. Sooner or later, something will have to give. Yeah, but I think the IGAD, AU have made a lot of appeals, to the government, basically telling the government to restrain itself, not to do things or take decisions that undermine the implementation of the agreements. But it seems that these actions are continuing, and to that extent, there's very little that they can do. But I think the internal dynamics of the situation in South Sudan will probably bring about changes.
Right. Well, you have two constituencies. There are young people in South Sudan, youth and women, who are the victims of the recurring crisis in the country. What message do you have for them? You have another constituency, the people in diaspora, and in particular, you have a constituency of some SPLM. These are actually original members of SPLM, the group of Jejal Amr, or the group that some of which were migrated to the West, commonly called the Lost Boys. They are part of the vision and product of the SPLM, and it appears they have been disconnected from the affairs of the country. Do you have a message for them, and do you have a message for the youth and women of South Sudan? What should they expect from you, from SSM, and from the UPA?
The women, of course, and the youth of South Sudan are central to this struggle. As you correctly pointed out, the women and young children continue to bear the brunt of the fighting and of the suffering in our country as the result of chronic political instability. So these are a constituency that has a vested interest, you see, in change and the restoration of peace. And to that extent, I would consider them critical to the movement for change. And I would expect to see them being given the opportunity and participating in a very big way in what organizations like the SSM and other opposition movements are doing. This for the women and the youth in general, including the people in the diaspora who are actually members of the SPLM. As I said earlier, the SSM is actually for them. Those members of the SPLM who believe that it is high time for things to change, this is their organization. As for the Jesh Amr, of course, I mean, when they were sent abroad to get education, they were too young to be actively recruited into combat roles. So they had the basic training, but they were sent ahead abroad to get education, training, and to acquire skills, simply because in anticipation of the fact that the struggle being waged by the SPLM, SPLA is a multi-phased struggle, and that there would come a phase where fighting would no longer be needed, where national building would require a new skill sets. And so people were sent abroad to prepare them for the future. That was the forward thinking of the leadership of the SPLM at the time. Now that time has come, and as a matter of fact, the current period or this era actually belongs to the Jesh Amr. It is actually the turn of their generation now to stand up and be counted. So they should not at all hesitate to seek active involvement in such an organization like SSM and all other opposition movements, because it is their time now to come to the fore. You see, the Yejamar now, these are the people in their most productive years, in the 30s and the 40s. These are the people. So for us, we are just like people who are just leading the way. There is a practice in some of these countries that follow the socialist path, whereby leadership actually changes by generation. When the time comes for the leadership to go, they all go, and then they only leave the chairman or one person basically to kind of lead the way for the next generation to take over. So this actually is the time of the Jeshamar. They are the people now with the dynamism and the skills, to lead this country and take care of the second and the final phase of the liberation, which is state building and nation formation. You see, the development of the Republic of South Sudan, such that we can actually reach our potential, is their responsibility. The building of the social fabric of the Republic of South Sudan, bringing us all together as diverse nationalities, is their responsibility. So the second phase of the struggle of the SPLM has now come, and they should now come and be at the forefront and lead it.
Thank you very much, Brother Majuk. Now I turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Abraham Wallich, for that meaningful and intellectual conversations in regard to South Sudan governance system and our relations with the regional bodies and international community. I have two questions, Honorable, before we hand it back to the comment sections and the citizens in the clubhouse who are actually waiting patiently in order to throw in another two questions before we let you go. I want to ask about the vision and the missions of your party, of which it seemed like you have captured during the answering questions of Abraham Wallich. I will not dwell much on that. But there is one question many South Sudanese have been asking, that what make you move out of the country and come and make your declaration instead of declaring your political move within the country? What can you say in regard to that?
That's a very, very good question. To be very honest, I even had to leave the country before even contemplating making the declaration. Unfortunately for me, I've been perceived as being an obstacle to some people who have been handpicked ascending to power. And as I said earlier, I've never, if you go through the history of the SPLM, I've never been quoted one day saying that I would like to have this position or that position. What is that there are perceptions, there are perceptions about all of us in the SPLM, and there are people who, for one reason or another, think that somebody like Nhial can be a leader. But the perception is different from my position. I've never sought or declared that I want to be a leader, and so because of these perceptions, I've been a target, and so it was basically in order to be able to stay safe and have the freedom and the liberty that I had to leave. Had I not left, I don't think I would have been here speaking to you. I might probably have ended up being given the same treatment that some of the people have now been given in Juba. So it's a very easy question to answer. It would not have been possible for me to do what I'm doing now. There's no way I can make such a declaration inside the country.
So in other words, Honorable Nhial, you were threatened. Your security was threatened.
Yes, I received an information that I would probably forfeit my liberty. I would forfeit my liberty, not my life, but my liberty, which more or less is amounts to the same thing.
It's the same.
Yeah, the same.
You are going to be detained, like
Yeah.
a Kolokor and like
And
Riek
Riek
Machar
Machar.
and his colleagues.
Yeah, definitely. That's where I would have ended up.
Continue, Ben Majuk.
Thank you so much, Honorable, for that. And most of the citizens actually understand the reasons that pushes you out of South Sudan to come and make your declarations outside the country. Before I move back, there is a simple question from the football team. I think they need to hear from you. People have been asking that you are so much attached to a certain football team in London, which I don't want to mention because I'm a supporter of Manchester United.
Well,
Yeah,
thank
what
God I'm
can
not
you say in that
a fan
regard?
of any particular team, so I can adjudicate. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. Well, I do not know how people like myself, who are political leaders, how they are perceived. But political leaders, before they become political leaders, they're just normal human beings. They've got likes, they've got dislikes. There are people who hate them, there are people who like them. So just like a normal person. And let me also just give you a little bit about my background when I was growing up in Sudan, in Khartoum. And I used to tell people that I'm not looking to become a leader. I'm not eyeing political positions. But what was instrumental in prompting me to join the SPLM in its formative years is also my background, my family background. But growing up, I was not particularly like a political activist or something of that sort. In the university, of course, we were active in the African National Front, because as South Sudanese, we were politically active. But I was just a normal person. I spent a lot of my youth basically in sports. I was a basketball player. Played a lot of basketball, and something that a lot of people do not know is that even when I graduated, I didn't immediately work as a lawyer. I was basically earning a living playing professionally in the Gulf. I was playing basketball. I was really that good. So I've been associated with the sports for a very long time. It's part of my life. And I happen to be a supporter of Arsenal, which is something, it's a normal pastime to weekends to spend watching TV. But I've never traveled to London for the specific purpose of watching Arsenal games. This is not true. This is a lie. But I believe that it's a much better pastime than other activities in which one can be engaged. Maybe some of your viewers, some of them, of course, those who are inclined, who are sports personalities, probably know that Paul Kagame, who is one of the luminaries in terms of leaders, you see, on the African continent, he's an avid Arsenal fan. And you know what Paul Kagame has done? Paul Kagame has used Arsenal to promote Rwanda as a tourism destination. So there's nothing wrong with being a sports fan. It doesn't prevent me from doing my job or what I need to do. But some people try to make a fuss about it as a way of maybe trying to discredit me, as somebody who doesn't do his work, but actually is much more interested in football. As a matter of fact, even when I joined the SPLA, a lot of people were astonished. Some were actually shocked. Well, they said that, wait a minute, but Nhial spends most of his time playing basketball. Why does he go to the bush? And even some of my colleagues, actually, in the Attorney General's chambers where I used to work, were even more shocked than South Sudanese, because they were saying that, look, such a brilliant South Sudanese lawyer, why would he go and run under the trees in the bush with people who... So you don't judge a book by its cover. What is important is the substance, not the appearance.
Now you prompted me, Honorable Nhial, I don't need to ask more questions, but you prompted me. You have said that, during the movement and in your life, you had no aspiration to become a leader.
Yes.
Now, do you have aspiration now? Are you ready to lead? Should you have the opportunity to lead the people of South Sudan, or you rather operate behind the scene? Isn't it your time to lead now?
I think the most important element of knowledge in leadership is not your desire, whether you want to be a leader or not. It's basically whether people think that you can become a leader. If people feel that you need to step up to the plate and lead people, then it would be all right, because it simply means that you have acceptability there is acceptability that you should lead, because and that's why I consider the choice of the people as being very, very important, because if you take up a leadership position, if you have got the support of the people, or if you came into that position because of the people, then you have a mandate. You can work, you can perform. But if you come there by accident, or if you impose yourself, the condition may bring you. Then it's a different it's a different story altogether. Yeah, but my position now in the leadership of the SPLM is what actually has prompted me to take this step, because even a lot of people are divided. There are people who are very critical of the move that I've made. There are people who are saying that it is long overdue. Why did you not make it earlier? Who actually happen to be the majority. So conditions force you. Sometimes leadership does not just come. It is created by circumstances. You see, in the hierarchy of the SPLM, I find myself being right next to those who have been removed. So for as long as the SPLM is still alive, I have to perform. I have no choice whether I like it or not. My status in the SPLM dictates upon me to take a leadership role, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's not easy. We may succeed, we may not succeed, but all the same, at the end of the day, it is a responsibility that people expect you to take.
Excellent. Continue, Majok.
Thank you so much, Honorable, for that. We really appreciate. To our viewers, we are almost coming to an end, and we have not covered most of the questions because the show has been too long, and we will have another talk show with regard to this. But before that, those who are in comment sections, the team in the studio will display one questions, and those who are in Clubhouse, prepare only two people to throw in some two questions. Before I yield it to those in the studio, I have one person here on the phone with me, Mauna Yor. You want to ask Honorable Deng one question. Mauna Yor, if you are ready, please you can throw in your questions.
Okay. Can you hear me now? In this, people hearing me from the studio?
Yes, I hear you in the studio. Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Lake Media, for this wonderful interview with Honorable Nhial. My question will be in the regard to unilateral decision that our president has made recently by dismissing Waniga, Daniel Owenakut, and Kwalmanyang. I believe in 1994, President Salpa, by then, he was a commander. There was, during that time, we were young people, we were hearing there was about to be a change in the leadership. At that time, we were hearing that Dr. John was in a position to change Salva. And that time, there was a lot of commotion in the movement within the leadership. Salpa was not happy. He was accusing Dr. John Garang by making some unilateral decision by himself, not through the hierarchy or through the meeting as Nhial has indicated earlier. Now, the same, to me, I feel like President Salpa fall into the same narrative in which he accused Dr. John during that time by making unilateral decision. My question to Honorable Deng Nhial, if there is any correlation to what Salpa was not happy during the movement that time with what President Salpa in the regard to the decision that Salpa has been undertaking during this time. I don't know whether my question is clear.
It's okay.
Yep, your question is clear. It's whether there is correlations between the current decision President Kiir is making and the past events between him and the late Dr. John Garang.
Yes.
Yep, thank you.
Yes, possibly. You see, first of all, I think the two situations, of course, are quite different. I mean, the complaints by President Salva at the time that Dr. John was undermining him and maybe grooming people like Nhial to replace him is totally unfounded. There's absolutely no evidence for it. Even if you were to ask Salva himself, give me the evidence, I don't think he'll be able to give you any proof that that it is true. In the case of the dismissals of those of Wani, Await and Kwal, there is a specific provision in the SPLM constitution that says that this must involve the NLC. I don't think the NLC was called actually to debate the possibility of removing the three comrades. It was just a unilateral decision that Salva took by himself. Even the people that were promoted into the political bureau and elevated to the NLC, those decisions were not in keeping with the constitution and the rules and the regulations. You see, so as I said, now there are specific provisions of the constitution that guide the actions of President Salva. And perhaps he feels that he has an axe to grind with those who are perceived as being close to Dr. John. Dr. John, he selected on his own the people that worked closely with him, or people who were in his headquarters. He chose different comrades for whatever reasons that he knew best. Maybe he thought that those comrades could perform in the SPLM. All the assignments that were given to me, whether the assignments that were political, diplomatic, or military in nature, I performed them, and I believe that I did them satisfactorily. Perhaps this is one of the reasons why late Dr. John kept me close to him. But when he died and Salva took over, I remember that I was actually in Khartoum at the time, so I was the one who was in charge, together with the NIF government, to make preparations for Salva's coming in to be sworn in as the first vice president. And I gave him my full backing and support. I basically told him that he can expect from me whatever I offered in terms of support to the late Dr. John, because for me, I was supporting the leader. I was not supporting, I was supporting the leader in the capacity of the leader. I'm not supporting a person, an individual person. Before I joined the movement, I knew neither Dr. Garang or Salva Kiir. I only came and saw them in the movement. And the first time when I arrived in Itang, in the refugee camp, I was shown by some people that, oh, that one is Dr. John. So I saw him from a distance. I did not even go to him. To say hi or anything of that sort. I joined my military training just like the rest of the recruits. I managed also to distinguish myself even in the military training, and as a result, I was given the opportunity to join the first officers training, and I got trained and commissioned as a first lieutenant. So there's nothing really particular about my relationship with Dr. John. No, it's but unfortunately, maybe Comrade Salva saw it differently. But all along, even the few times that we were together with him, with Salva, we had a good understanding. I didn't happen to be one of those assigned to work with him, but I was assigned to work with Dr. John in his headquarters. But that does not mean that I was supporting Dr. John against him or anything of that sort. I respected both of them as my leaders, and when the time came for Salva to assume the mantle of leadership, I stood by him, and this is evidenced by the fact that in 2013, when most of our colleagues left, I remained with him because I was loyal to him. I was loyal to the party, you see, and to the extent that he remains loyal to the party and to the ideals of the SPLM, I would have no problem working with him as my leader.
Thank you so much, Honorable, for answering that question from one of the Judge Hammer or Judge Hammer during those days. Munayor. To Lex Media in the studio, please, the chance is yours now. And to our viewers, we deeply appreciate your time and for coming here to listen and also judge by yourself. We yield it back to Isaac Tim. If you are there, please display one question from the comment section, if there is one. And if not, then we move to the clubhouse. And to those who are in clubhouse, please try to be brief. State the questions, only 2 questions. We'll still have more show in regard to the discussion of our political issues in the country with the Honorable Nhial. So we will allow him to go because we have passed the time that we allotted for this conversation. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Majok Makur, and thank you, Honorable General Deng Nhial and Abraham Wallich. We will move straight to the clubhouse. In clubhouse, have few people.
Give Isaac, give the chance to our relay.
Okay, well, if you are ready, open your mic and then you ask your question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, and hi to Honorable Nhial. Thanks for coming out to speak to your people. My question is really one and very, very simple. What is the difference between real SPLM and South Sudan Salvation Movement? From the way I heard your vision and your mission, it seems more like what Pagan is saying. So if you are speaking about the same thing, which is reforming the SPLM, why do you have 2 different movements? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Maybe the position of Pagan that you alluded to as being similar or identical to my position is the reason why I joined the UPA. Because as a matter of fact, I believe that the SSM and the real SPLM, at the end of the day, will converge in the same place. Although Pagan has not officially declared that he's basically for the reform of the SPLM and that the real SPLM is a totally separate outfit, and I think he can speak for himself. But I do not doubt the fact that the reason that he called it a real SPLM simply means that he's still SPLM. So the SSSM and the SPLM, this is just a vehicle, but we embrace the same principles and objectives of the SPLM.
Honorable, you should adjust your camera so that at least your
very good.
Yep.
Yeah, so
That is good like
the next, let us give the chance to Yapana. We run out of time, okay? We have only less than 10 minutes. Dr. Nhial? Dr. Nhial, are you there?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I'm here. Thank you.
Okay.
Is it my turn to ask a question?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Thank you, Madid, and also thank you, Uncle Nhial. This is Dr. Nhial. It's unfortunate we're meeting in these circumstances. My question is this. You said that you left South Sudan because you had been informed that you might forfeit your liberty for whatever reason, and you left, and then declared the formation of a new movement, the aim of which is to induce reform within SPLM. For many of us, these two realities are contradictory. And so why did you refuse to risk forfeiting your liberty for the sake of reforming the party from within?
Well, can I throw back the question? If you lose your liberty, then how do you reform the party from within?
Come again?
If you lose your liberty, then how do you reform the party from within? The fact that I've not lost my liberty is what has given me the opportunity to interact with you now and to put my message across. If I lose my liberty, I would not be able to do that. I would be silenced.
I think that question is answered. So if there is more, if there are more questions, bring them up. But I think the question is answered.
Yeah, Isaac.
Hello? Oh, sorry.
And what was the reaction?
Joseph, repeat the question, Joseph. Repeat the question.
All right. Yeah, Honorable Nhial, my question to you is when you close the mic again, are you guys hearing me?
Yes, we're hearing you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, Honorable Nhial, my question to you is when President Kiir removed when Akut and Paul Manyang and Wani Iga did, President consulted the senior leadership of the SPLM, and what was the reaction from Paul Manyang and Waniga and Akut? And thank you.
Absolutely no consultation whatsoever. I think they themselves were just shocked because it's such a drastic action that given the status of Wani, Awed and Kwal, these were basically President Salva's own colleagues. These are the people who are actually leading the movement. To be just unceremoniously dismissed like that, I think must have been very shocking. But definitely, nobody was consulted. Maybe there are other people that Chairman Salva consulted, but not within the leadership of the SPLM. Nobody was consulted.
All right. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm around. Thank you, Malik. Honorable Nhial, Thank you so much for being here today. My question is very brief. You have been in the government, serving twice, if not thrice. What contribution did you make in developing South Sudan then, during your tenure as a minister and an advisor? And what other contribution would you make now if you had to go back as a president in 100 days? Thank you.
Very, very interesting question. Myself and many of my colleagues who have served in government and maybe those who are still serving are seen by the public as not having done anything. But the accountability is not just to individuals, it is to the government as a collective. And I can tell you that one of the factors may be responsible for non-delivery is the way in which our government functions. I can confidently tell you and many other people among my colleagues and other even members of the public can attest to that. The president does not even meet with the members of his cabinet. I mean, there are ministers and advisors that have to plead for months on end to see the president, to report to him, to seek his guidance on their work. They don't get audience, they don't get access. So there is a real problem in which the government itself functions, which is the reason why individual ministers may not have delivered, and the reason why the government itself has not delivered. Even the cabinet meetings that are held are basically formalities. These are perfunctory activities. But now, implementing the outcomes of those meetings or the resolutions becomes problematic because it's difficult to have follow-up. Basically, the ministers themselves need, from time to time, as things are happening, to have audience with the president, his excellency the president, to seek further guidance, directives. There is need for resources to be availed for those activities. You probably know that if you look at our beautiful budgets of the government of the Republic of South Sudan, you see we've got very glossy, beautiful budgets. What's written in those budgets is not what happens in practice. You see, in those budgets, we all struggle as government departments or agencies to have a cut, you see, of the budget. But at the end of the day, very few of the agencies actually get their budget. All the money goes only to two agencies, goes to the presidency and to the and to defense. Defense basically, not necessarily in order to defend the Republic of South Sudan, but to defend the regime.
General Nhial, there are a lot of people who would like to ask you questions. Can you give them 20 minutes of your time so that you can hear from them?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Our next one is, let us move to Jamus. We did only one question, which Jama. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I would like to agree with the Honorable Nhial, William Deng Nhial. My question is this: you playing a bigger role in our politics of South Sudan, and as you freeze your position within the SPLM, latest great hero, the people of the South, in terms of the politics back then, and who also championed the politics against the Arab North or the Islamic regime, and which actually caused him and all of us that sacrifice he made. Later, we understood that Dr. John Garang was inspired by him as a great leader In fact, we have talked about him last night in our group of Honorable William Nhial, Deng Nhial, and his great achievements and contribution. We see him as a successor of Honorable William Deng Nhial, and you now here facing this turmoil of political crisis in South Sudan. Unity become the crucial part of this struggle. And as we become so polarized, what do you tell the youth now as we go through this political storm and other crisis that is very confusing? Everyone having his own party, and everyone is not achieving anything. What is the message to tell the youth who are actually rallying behind leaders who seem to be revisiting the politics of the past of regionalism? What is your message to them? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a very good question. You know, we are committed to political pluralism. You know, multi-party democratic system. Again, because of the diversity of the people of South Sudan, by necessity, people have formed different multiple political organizations. There is nothing wrong with that. The problem are the means that people use to pursue their objectives. And that is why I said before, it is very, very important, whether in a multi-party system or whatever system, for the people themselves to be given the right, you see, to have their say in how they want their country to be governed, to have their say in who they want to govern them. Now, when that is done freely and democratically, without coercion or force or violence, then people accept the result. When people accept the result, then there will be no violence. If you accept the results, you go back, you continue organizing yourself, and then next time you develop maybe more attractive programs, and then you come to the people and submit your programs to them. And if they like those programs, then they can elect you into power. So the most important message that I would like to give to the youth is that there is nothing wrong with you supporting whatever political party you support. But make sure that in that political party or organization, try to pursue your objectives through peaceful means and to avoid violence. Now, this also imposes a responsibility on the government. You see, because it works this way. If you seek to use violence to take power, then whoever has power will also try to use violence to retain power. Now, that one we do not want. We want you to seek power through peaceful means, and we want to make sure that whoever has power only retains it through peaceful means, not through violence or by imposition. The youth are critical because those who are now involved even in communal fighting, killing themselves, are the youth. We believe that it is very, very important for them to fight with ideas. In politics, people fight with ideas, you fight with programs. You see, you don't fight with bullets. In a democracy, people fight with ideas, with programs, with ballots. They don't fight with bullets. So this culture of peace, peaceful political processes, is really the message that I would like to give to our youth.
Okay. Who is next?
The next one is Charles.
Are you hearing me, Madid Maja? I was clear. Madid Maja.
Yeah, we're hearing you loud and clear. Go ahead.
Great. Yeah, I'm going to question. I thank you, Elder Nhial, for coming out in social media. That's a great. We never expect that, but it's good. I have a question, but it seems like a condition question. I know you are not a regional leader; you are a national leader. There are so many voices in social media that regarding your outcomes, especially in Bargazal. They say you brought the divisions among the Bargazal. So what do you see there? Are you fighting for regional, or are you fighting for the reform entire South Sudan?
Yeah, another very good question. You know, communities, regions are not political organizations. They are socio-cultural outfits. I come from Barazal. I come from Tony. That is my socio-cultural identity. It is not my political identity. My political identity is SPLM. So if somebody says that my move has divided Barazal, that's totally beside the point. I did not make my move as a person from Barazal. I did not make my move to seek power for Barazal. I made my move to seek power for the SPLM. I want the SPLM to retain political power because that was the reason the SPLM was founded, and the SPLM has a program, you see. It doesn't matter where you come from. If you are SPLM, you are SSSM. We work together. You are the person that I'm reaching out to, but do not reach out to me as from Barazal because I am from Barazal. That's not what I need from you. You see, because Barazal is not a political party. Upper Nile is not a political party. Equatoria is not a political party. A political party is the SPLM and other outfits that have people from different regions, people who are united by political ideas, by convictions. They are not united by regional affiliation.
Yes,
Thank you. Yeah, the neighbor Jonkor.
Yeah, Jonkor and then Amico, I think.
No, Amigo will come last, so let us go to Jonkor and Sudani. Isaac, can I hear you?
Oh, okay, yes, sorry for that. Yeah, repeat your question. Yeah, repeat your question, Jonkor.
Okay. Honorable Deng Nhial, my name is John Cormayol. I have two questions. You talk about the unity, how it is so paramount within the oppositions. Mading one day said that things that we don't say are the things that divide us. And that's true. Now, you see that the oppositions, they have a hard time coming together for a very long time. And actually, they get to entertain the regime in Juba. Some people, they define the crisis in South Sudan in their own ways. They define it as a ethnic genocide. They define it as community. I want to know from you, how do you define the crisis in our country? That's my first question. My second question, you talk about the second phase of Jaysh al-Ahmar, or the young people to be given opportunity to lead. And the same leaders in the SPLM party, they are the ones that are refusing the norms of democracy, even within the oppositions. Sometimes if you are not somebody well known, your message will get nowhere. What can you do about that? Now you came out, زي ما يقال بالعربي من العيار الثقيل. And that's why you have been perceived with the hand clap and and applaud. But there's a lot of people actually, they are opposition, but they are not being accepted. Just simply, they are not well known, and they were not in the bush with you or with your colleagues. So these are my two questions. How do you define the crisis, and how this issue of unity among the opposition can be achieved? Because the regime is survived when people are divided. Thank you.
Let me come in quickly. I think I might go off because my battery has gone down. Yeah. I mean, the crisis in the country, the nature of the crisis, it is purely a contest over political power. You see, our communities do not have a problem among themselves. You know, God has given us a vast land, a very rich land, with a relatively small population. So, you know, there are no things that can bring our people into conflict, our communities into conflict. Our communities have been engulfed into this conflict because of the contest of the political elite for political power, you see. And so people are mobilizing their communities here in order to access political power, not because there is a problem with the communities or the other communities. The problem, again, as I said, is that there is nothing wrong. You know, me, I don't believe in ethnic or tribal politics. I believe in ideas and programs. But if a politician believes that he has to organize or mobilize his tribe, it is okay. But let that be done peacefully. If you want power for your tribe, give them ballots, mobilize them to vote for you. You see, this is for people who believe that because in a diverse country like this with so many nationalities, you just can't be a tribal or a political outfit. You have to be a political organization for all the people of the country, because everybody matters in our situation. You brought up a very important point about calamity democracy. This is the crux of the problem, because as I was saying before, even we in the SPLM, that will have a democracy. If the political parties in the country are not democratic, then the country cannot become democratic. You see, the country itself cannot become democratic. Some people may have advantage, maybe if they've got a name recognition, okay, Nhial Deng Nhial, that's all maruf. Lakini still, even after that, Nhial Deng Nhial has to be accepted by the people on the basis of his program and what he stands for. It should not be automatic. Again, this is a new culture, and this culture, I believe that, as I said before, the Jaish Ahmar should play a role in forging a new political culture, not to go the way we have gone. As I explained to you before, how the movement started and what some of the things that even delayed the liberation movement is also the thinking of our political leaders. يعني نحن كلنا Dr. John, Salva, Riek Machar, all these people, we are not saints. We are human beings, and we made mistakes. You see, there are things that we did that landed us into what we are today. But going forward now, as the new generation comes to take over, we should change that culture. We should have a new culture, a culture of tolerance, a culture of democracy, a culture of solidarity. You see, a culture of feeling that we are one people. We are all the people who live in this geographical space called South Sudan. We are all one thing. Yeah. I think I don't know whether we'll be able to take another question. My power is running out. I think it's 4%, but let us see. If I just disappear all of a sudden, then know that my power has gone off.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you so much. I think in the clubhouse, and those who have questions, I apologize for that. It's running out of battery power. So we're going to be having only one person who was here before Amico has left. I think he's there. Abraham said before Amico will be the last. We need only one person with one question. Amico, if you are there, open your mic, and we will remain in the clubhouse to continue with the show.
Can I just have this one? I'm going to be very short. Yeah. I will give up my question to Honorable Lual Dao.
Because this guy, he's been here before me.
No, amigo, go ahead. I'm just here listening. Don't worry. No. Please go ahead. It's yours a chance. I will talk to Comrade Nhial in different place. Go ahead.
Amigo, don't worry.
I'm just here helping organizing. Go ahead. I don't want to talk.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you so very much. First of all, let me, Honorable Deng Nhial, we're so honored to have you. And thank you so very much for your time and for your sacrifice that you did for our country. I do have I have two questions, but I'll just ask you one question. I will just leave the other one. When you defected from the SPLM, you stated that I have hereby dissolved temporarily from the membership of the SPLM. And my question to you, are you telling us if there's any political settlement between you and President Kiir, you will go back to the SPLM and abandon South Sudan Salvation Movement? That's my question to you. I do have another question. This I will leave it for next time, and I believe you will come back again in this Lake Media. Thank you so very much.
Definitely. I mean, the South Sudan Salvation Movement is a vehicle. It's not an end in itself. The end is a reformed SPLM is the end. So if Chairman Salva agrees to reform the SPLM to the satisfaction not only of myself, but all the members of the SPLM, of course, then I immediately go back to the SPLM. That's what I said. And I even said that if after that some people do not want to go with me back to the SPLM and they want to retain the SSSM, they are free to do so. We will welcome them to retain it. But it will have the same ideology and visions anyway, because our position is the position of the SPLM. The only problem is that we believe that what the SPLM stands for has been thrown away. So our responsibility in SSSM is to pick it up and rejuvenate it.
All right. I think Sudani have one question, then we will leave it that way. Sudani, are you there?
Yes,
Thank you, Eagle Media, and Honorable Nhial. Greeting to you. I know time is short. We're hungry for you, and we were very yawning here to ask a lot of questions, and there's so many questions to be asked. And for you to come here, there's so many things that has been said, in particular, you as a Dinka politician, not because you are from Dinka.
Hang on. Sudani, I think he's run out of power.
Wait, Sudani, he fall off. I think he ran out. His camera shut down. He fall off.
Okay.
Yeah, he's run out of power.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Is he still?
He's not here, it seems like. So maybe.
Yeah, he fall out. I think his camera is shut down. He has no power. Let him connect. When he comes back, we will let you know straight away.
Please allow
ask this question because I wanted to ask this question about his the party that he's heading to. But in case if I'm not here, you can pass my question to him. Greeting to you, Lualda, by the way, in case you can ask deliver my question too, and then you can bring it to us because you're always here and participating with us. So all the time, my question is this: as someone a prominent politicians, and me as a member of the Red Army, do not believe in rebellions or giving up as PLA, as PLM. As a person he is, and joining the UPA, does he believe in a political violence or non-political violence? As someone who has been in war zone, does he believe in political violence, in pick up arms and fight to kill or not? If not, why is he joining the UPA? And the leader of UPA was recently caught on audio saying that
If no any alternative, they will have to fight. And the EU was heading to acquire weapon in Congo and in Tanzania. Why is he participate? Why is he trying to participate in such organization? That was a question I wanted to ask him. If I'm here, I will ask it again. If not, Waldau is here, he can deliver that. Waldau is a member of UPA as well. I have not got an opportunity last time to ask him, or otherwise, I can ask him as well. And thank you very much. We have a lot of questions to ask here. There's so many questions to ask, in particular, someone like Honorable Deng Nhial. We have a lot to listen to. And thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Sudani, and all the viewers. I think we are coming to an end of the show. Sin is now away, is not yet back. We will organize again if you have a time to come back here and answer some more questions. And also, we are looking forward as well. We will be writing invitation to the government side as well, such that we balance the news. Before we closing in the YouTube, Facebook, and the Clubhouse will be running, I would like to give my brother Abraham Awolish his final remarks, and then I will close down the studio, but the Clubhouse will continue. Abraham, Fadal, just give us your final remarks. Honorable is my way now. We will catch up with him again. Thank you.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Brother Deng, and the leadership of Lex Media. First of all, I want to state here, while I have the microphone, that that I condemn the threat by the government against Lex Media for airing out the views of various South Sudanese. A microphone cannot be incriminated. So if the government doesn't like what we say, they should hold us accountable, but not the microphone, which is the Lake State media or any other forms of media per se. That is not a good practice, and that is exactly why the country is in a crisis. Is the inability of people to speak and to debate and to air out their views. That's why people resort to violence. And so I condemn that strongly. And we support Lex Media and their team for the work they are doing. In fact, Lex Media, many other people in the opposition believe that there are many members in the Lex Media that are supporters of government. And so it is surprising that the government would be threatening an outfit that daily airs out their own activities. That is the work of media. Media goes both ways. If we are doing something bad, they will tell the public about it. If we are doing something good, they will tell the public about it. That is exactly what the media does. So that aside, it has actually been a real honor to chat with the Honorable Deng Nhial today. And I hope the people of South Sudan, for the first time, have been able to see Honorable Nhial closely. And I also felt that I and my colleagues in the PCCA, we have been exonerated by what Honorable Nhial has said, because that is exactly what we told the public when we made the declaration in 2021, that there is no SPLM. The party is not working the way it should, and therefore the government is not working the way it should. Decisions are made by one man, and everyone else is just a spectator. And in that situation, no country can actually work. It's just that the people of South Sudan are really good people, and they are patient, and they are resilient. That is why they have not gone crazy. But the opportunity now has come for us who are already in the trenches. We have been working closely with the other opposition groups to make sure that the people of South Sudan are united, and to make sure that we pursue democracy. We actually, for us in the PCCA, we believe absolutely in democracy. And if the opposition parties, including Honorable Nhial's party and UPA and other organizations, if they would like to demonstrate that they stand for democracy, the time has come actually for us to organize as democratic parties and have internal elections within those parties, so that we can show before we actually get into power that the way we are governing our own parties is the way we are going to govern the country. I absolutely believe that. And I believe that the power of working together, that Honorable Nhial and those of Pagan and others should reach out to General Thomas and even to Nathaniel Oyed and others to work together so that the unity of the country is first secured, and then political power is secured or pursued as a secondary. So this is where we are now. The country is really spiraling downward, and we need to stand together as the people of South Sudan, wherever we may be, to protect our country. We work so hard for it, and we are not going to allow self-appointed individuals to wreck it for us and to bring it down. We should not allow that. So I appreciate once again the opportunity to chat here with Lake State Media, and also to have the opportunity to moderate this discussion with Honorable Nhial. We hope that this is going to be an ongoing conversation, and it is next time it will be more interactive. It will be more about people asking questions and Honorable Nhial responding. But today it was good just to establish the facts and to get to hear Honorable Nhial directly what he meant by what he said. And now I think we got the clarity that we needed. And people want to support him, they should go ahead and support him. If people have questions still, those clarifications are his responsibility to make. But to the Lake State Media team, you guys stand strong and keep doing your job. The people of South Sudan appreciate it. And you are not doing anything subversive. Your goal is not to overthrow the government, but to let the government tell people what they are doing, and let the opposition tell the people what the government is doing wrong. That is how the countries are governed. So I appreciate you. Continue forward. We'll support you, and we will continue to come here on Lake State Media to express ourselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Awole. I think I want you to work on it. We are no longer Lake State Media.
We are Lake
We
Media.
are Lake Media. So
okay,
I would
so
like
the
you to work on it.
state is gone. Okay, so
Yeah.
Lake Media.
Yeah, Lake Media. We are no longer Lake State Media.
All
So
right, Lake Media.
Whether it's Lake Victoria or Lake No or Lake what?
Anyway,
Lake
yeah, so
Michigan.
we take it. All right, Kalas. Thank you very much. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you.
Yes.
Isaac.
Yes, Abraham, I just come in and then we close down.
Okay, yeah, I just want to say thank you so much, our supporters. I want to take this minute to thank you guys. Without you, this show of today will not be possible. For the last few days, you has been with us to make it happen. Your voice make this show happen. I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you. We read your comment. We say thank you, especially the young generation, the youth. You youth are the engine of that country. So we hear your voice. And your voice, what makes this show today, it's possible. So we listen to you. For that, I say thank you. May God bless you. And may God bless South Sudan. I hear my comment to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Abraham. It's absolutely correct. We like we didn't take this for granted. We like to take this opportunity to thank all the youth and fellow followers of Lakes media and all the Sudanese in large, whether in diaspora, East Africa, back home in Sudan, your voice has reached out, and that's what pushed us and to conduct this interview today. Without you, we wouldn't make it. So we thank you so much for your patience, also for waiting for a few hours. I mean, some minutes before when we were late to bring Honorable Deng on the show. And now we are looking forward to the government side if they will accept our invitation. We need to listen from their side as well, such that we balance the news or the information that being given out before by our guest. That's what we are looking forward. We will inform you. We will put out the news, or we will bring back Honorable Nhial for those who didn't make it to ask your question to him. He will be back in sometimes, and also we will be having some analysis as well. Other politicians are invited to come and brainstorm and make some analysis out of this show.
And
That is,
also to Isaac, we will have an open invitation to Aspelam.
yes.
So we will, for the next couple of days, we will be sending Aspelam invitation.
Absolutely, that's what I
for interview. So for those of you who are watching right now, I know the Aspelam leadership are watching in Juba. This is open invitation. We will look out for Lakes Media invitation letter that we will be interviewing you too for interview. So Lake Media is not, it's for everybody. We invited all the political, whether in opposition or in the government. So this is what the media are all about. So our invitation for Aspelam is coming. So we need to hear from Aspelam. What will they respond? What they hear from General Deng. And we need to hear, South Sudan, you need to hear your side. So thank you.
All right, and thank you so much. You nailed it, and that's it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today, tonight, wherever you are tuning in. May God bless you. May God bless Republic of South Sudan. Have a good night, good day, good afternoon. Thank you.